All right. How was that video? Yeah, pretty cool, huh? Well, good morning, everyone, and welcome to day 3 of the Fabric Conference, or maybe I should say Valkumna. I'm Rudra Mitra, Corporate Vice President of Microsoft Purview Engineering, and I promise you that's the only Swedish I'll try to speak today. I know I'm not good, no more attempts. So it's wonderful to have you all join us in person today. Thank you so much for being here. This is, of course, the last day of the conference, and all I can say is that they've saved the best for last. Or at least that's what I'm telling myself, okay? All right. First, I've got to say I'm really impressed with the energy of the community. For sure, it's just an amazing time to be in data right now. And then, of course, as you know, the Fabric community, you all, it's just amazing. It's the different roles and disciplines that come together that creates such an amazing learning opportunity for us. And I've certainly gained a lot more insights and knowledge this week by spending time with all of you. And you know that Arun talked about the importance of security and governance in the world of data now. I couldn't agree with him more. This is why I'm so excited to talk to you today about security and governance with Microsoft Purview, deeply integrated with Fabric, and our most recent innovations in this space and what's to come ahead. Now, we all know AI is certainly having a moment. You heard the speakers before me talk about that. From natural language prompts that help you search for data jobs on LinkedIn, to chatbots that are supporting service integrations, to generative AI creating even sales and marketing slides at the click of a button. It's fundamentally changing how we interact with data. AI can analyze way more information than humans can easily and quickly. Its pattern recognition surfaces insights that humans would naturally just miss trolling through troves of data. And it fundamentally makes data management tasks much easier, providing conversational interfaces and intuitive tools that help non-technical users approach data. Essentially, AI is making data analysis more intuitive, more interactive, and available to a wider range of people. And it also has the added bonus of making customers and users more personalized with the experiences they have with data. But as our favorite Marvel superhero Spider-Man says, with a lot of powerful technology comes sometimes risk. And that's where making companies more productive while addressing the nervousness with AI is where Purview shines. Companies are questioning whether AI used today is truly trustworthy, and if data is really safe. In a KPMG survey of 17,000 people from 17 different countries across the globe, 73% responded that AI is risky when it comes to cybersecurity and potentially even harmful. That's an astounding number. It's easy to be nervous after being exposed to so many high-profile cases of AI that were biased, that were providing incorrect answers, discriminatory, manipulative, and maybe sometimes even violation of basic human rights. Realizing the potential of AI and gaining a return on investment requires a clear and sustained focus on maintaining the public's trust. People need to be confident in their use of AI, that it is trustworthy and being developed and used responsibly. This is where Microsoft plays a central role in the world's digital ecosystem. And this comes with the critical responsibility to earn and continuously maintain your trust. It's not just a one-time thing. We have to earn it every day. We are making security a top priority at Microsoft above all else and above all features that we build into our products. Last year, Microsoft launched the Secure Future Initiative, SFI as we call it in short, to prepare for the increasing scale and high stakes of cybercrime that the world is seeing. It has 3 core principles that form the basis of SFI. 1, secure by design. Security comes first when designing any product or service at scale is Microsoft's mantra. Security protections are enabled and enforced by default going forward, requires no extra effort, and these aren't optional anymore. And finally, secure operations. Security controls and monitoring will be continuously improved automatically to meet current and, more importantly, the expected future threats. Now, what we believe customers need is a solution that can help you responsibly democratize the data estate that you have. Microsoft's commitment to security extends to our data, analytics, and AI products and services. We believe that setting the foundation for responsible analytics and AI is anchored around being able to seamlessly secure and activate your data. Rarely, however, do you see solutions that can do both. For the next 20 minutes or so, I want to dive into what it really means to seamlessly secure and confidently activate your data estate. And I've brought some friends with me who are going to use demos to walk the walk as I talk the talk. Solution silos and fragmentation put the security and trustworthiness of your analytics at risk. So you need to really get rid of those. This is where Microsoft Purview comes in. It converges these silos across data security, data compliance, and data governance. Microsoft Purview provides AI-powered and integrated solutions to secure and govern your entire data estate. When I say entire, I mean data that is structured, unstructured, and even AI-generated data, which will dominate the future. Wherever it lives, whether that be on Microsoft 365, Azure, and even, yes, AWS, Google Drive, Box, Salesforce, and many more services. Breaking down the silos between security, data, and risk personas is the only solution. Microsoft Purview is the only solution that offers unified visibility built right into your data estate with Fabric rather than being bolted on. And it enables you to avoid significant integration costs as you bring different solutions together. Our Microsoft Purview solutions help customers govern, protect, and manage data across both Microsoft and non-Microsoft data estates. So who wants to see some demos? Yeah? All right, let's get into it. We'll start with the first pillar, focused around securing the data. Let's talk about why it's important. Companies generally have way too many solutions to secure their data estate. An analogy I'd like you to think about is an exterior security system. Maybe you have a digital doorbell, maybe a doorbell camera, and maybe an interior security system, but all from different vendors. Just imagine that in your heads. What this ends up in is creating the need to stitch those solutions together. It leads to exposure that comes from the gaps across these solutions, and of course requires unnecessary data transfers, stitching together signals, duplicate copies of data, and siloed investigations for security teams. It's so clear that a simpler solution is needed. What is really needed, if you think about it, is a defense-in-depth approach to securing your data. You need an integrated set of tools that can help you secure the data and apply built-in protections, consistent enforcements, and detect user risks because data doesn't move data. Usually, users move data. When new integrated Purview capabilities, we're making it way easier than before to apply built-in labels and data loss prevention controls across Microsoft Fabric and Microsoft 365. Secondly, we're extending our protection controls, a familiar concept to millions of organizations already around the globe, to employ our labels and policies to protect your data estates, including structured data assets like Azure SQL, Azure Data Lake Storage, and Amazon S3 buckets, enabling consistent enforcement across all these data stores. And third, we're also extending the existing solutions of Microsoft Purview to detect insider risks by adding risk detections across Fabric and many other data stores like AWS, Google Drive, Box, Salesforce, and more. Back to the topic of AI, many customers have expressed concerns about Gen AI specifically, and the associated risks of data leakage and biased output. You heard our speakers earlier on stage address this in what they expect to be concerns a year from now. Fortunately, the Microsoft security portfolio, and Purview in particular, have a broad set of capabilities ready to go today and have solutions for A, discovering potential risks associated with AI usage, such as sensitive data leaks for users accessing data, protecting the AI applications in use and sensitive data being reasoned over or generated by them, including prompts and responses. And third, governing the use of AI by retaining and logging user interactions with AI, detecting regulatory risks, and investigating incidents if they were to occur. That brings me to the product announcements today that I'm super excited to share with you. We've made a couple of significant advancements this last year that help you in securing your data in Fabric that I want to talk about. Microsoft Purview's information protection sensitivity labels can now restrict and allow access to Fabric items and Power BI semantic models. And if you don't want sensitive information uploaded in Fabric Lakehouse, you can also now use Microsoft Purview data loss protection, again, used by millions of organizations around the globe to stop these kinds of exfiltrations from happening. So as I promised, it's time for demos. And so I'm going to invite my colleague, Tony Themlis, Principal Product Manager for Data Security, up on stage. He's going to walk you through these two products. Tony has a great story, and it's about a sports retailer based right here in Sweden. Tony?
Thank you. Hi, everybody. Thank you so much for being here. It's been such an honor, starting from day one, when Amir talked about information protection and sensitivity labels and data loss prevention, to all the awesome sessions that we've had. I was completely blown away by the interest in Purview and in data security and in data governance. It's such an honor to be here, to listen to you, to answer your questions, and to build the products with the insight that you guys are giving us. So let's get started. Data classification. We all know what that is, right? We look for sensitive information types, PII, GDPR, and we make sure that that data doesn't go where it shouldn't. And I'm going to show you, like Rudy said, a little bit of that in Fabric today. The second one is sensitivity labels. Sensitivity labels are a representation of your information taxonomy, from most sensitive to least sensitive. They're such an important signal that you can use. And the thing that's really important about Purview is that it brings a consistent taxonomy across your entire data estate, within Fabric, but also outside of Fabric as well. And then the third one is label-based protections. So, okay, I put a label out there. What does that mean? What do I do with it? Well, now in Fabric, we can apply protections, and I'm going to show you that in a moment. So let's get started. As Rudy was saying, let's imagine the scenario is a sports retailer based in Sweden, and they have to comply with environmental, social, and economic responsibilities. They need to report on these, but this data is super sensitive. And also, it's located in so many different places. They need to bring that all together into an initiative that's called sustainability. So what they did from the governance side is they created a governance domain called sustainability. They pulled all the information together, and let's see what it looks like. What I'm going to show you is a few things. The first one is the power of the sensitivity label as it flows across your environment, as the data is transformed across your environment. The second thing I'm going to show you is the protection policy, and then I'm going to show you the data loss prevention policy. And at the end, I'm going to show you some of the analytics and reporting that, as a security officer, I can see the impact of all the policies that I've put into place. So here's a lineage view in Fabric, the sustainability workhouse. And what you can see over here is the ability that the data owner has to go and apply a sensitivity label. And what they need to do is really simple. They go and they apply a label on the lakehouse, the source of the data. And what happens when they've applied the label is there is automatic inheritance all the way downstream in the lineage. So we're applying a confidential label, and notice the pop-up that shows sensitivity is applied downstream. Now, this means the data is secured by putting the label once, and all the derived artifacts afterwards get the same label. Therefore, they get the same protection. So you can see the label is everywhere, right? And so there's two things that are important here. The first thing is you're doing all the traditional protections. You're providing access control. You are doing data loss prevention. But also, all of the AI that we're building is aware of the label. So doing this work today prepares you to be able to securely scale AI in your environment by telling it how to reason over label data. Is it allowed to? Is it not allowed to? Who's the user that's doing it? So for us, this journey of data loss prevention and sensitivity labels and getting it today is so important in the era of AI because it allows you to securely scale that AI. All right. Let's imagine now I'm in the scope of Fabric. I'm the Fabric data owner, and I go and I add a new user because this guy's a friend of mine, and I want to ask him, hey, I created this report. I want you to review it for me before I publish it, just to tell me what you think of it. So what the data owner does is he adds the user to his workspace. He has full admin access. He's allowed to do that. And he shares the report with this data user. Now let's look at the data user's experience. The data user gets the email. They get the link to the report. They go and they open it. And access is going to be denied, right? The reason why access is denied is because, from a security perspective, the security officer wants to control oversharing. The label that's put on that data does not allow this user access to the data. So they got the permission denied, and this really interesting thing about it is that in the workspace, there are many items. Some are labeled, some are not labeled. The control is granular. The items in the workspace that don't have a label are fully visible to that person. The items that do have a label are not. So what we have here is, in action, the new feature, which is protection based on the label. Isn't that cool? All right. So I got this question, and it was an awesome thing because I had this in my demo in a session a couple of days ago. So a gentleman in the audience said, well, what about if you export the data to Excel? And it was literally the next thing I was going to show in my demo. So let's say you go to the report and you export it to Excel. And this again, think of this security control inside of Fabric, but also outside of Fabric, right? And that's the power of Purview. We look at the data, we look at the label, we persist the label. As the data is used in a report, as it's exported to Excel, the same label goes out into Excel, it's inherited, and the same protections apply from inside of Fabric to outside. Okay, next let's talk about the data loss prevention. So here's the thing. This is a sustainability initiative. PII shouldn't be in here, right? So let's say a user who has access to the sustainability workspace goes and uploads some data from a Power BI desktop file. And it turns out that that data happens to have personally identifiable information, PII, in it. See that little information? Well, that is data loss prevention. So what we've done here is from the data classification side, we've scanned the upload. We have recognized that there is PII, and we've put up an informational message. We call that a policy tip to the user that says, sorry, this information is PII. You should not be uploading it into this workspace. All right, so now as a data security officer, I want to know the impact of all of the things that I'm doing. So let's start by going into the data catalog and looking at all of our classified information, all of our sensitivity labels. And you can see there's Azure databases and there's a sustainability. All the items around sustainability are there. So I can look at it, I can see what's labeled, I know that I'm ready to protect the data. I can protect it using DLP, I can protect it using protection policy, and of course, when the time comes, I can protect it from AI. Now I'm going to go to Activity Explorer, which is going to show me who's doing what and how are they doing it. So let me add some filters. I'm going to filter by the type of activity. I'm going to filter by the location, and I'll see where the label was applied. I can see the sustainability initiative over there. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to change the filter to data loss prevention, and that's going to show me all of the DLP activities and all of the things that people are triggering that are PII related where they shouldn't be. All right, that was it for the demo. Just in conclusion, what I showed you is the new protection policy, the new data loss prevention policy, the inheritance, the importance of thinking of Purview inside of Fabric, but also outside of Fabric across the entire data estate. We add a layer of security that extends the native Fabric permissions. And with that, I'd like to introduce Rudy back to the stage. Thank you very much.
That was awesome. Thanks, Tony. So that was an awesome demo. Another round of applause, please, for Tony. Just to recap, Tony's demo showed you what Microsoft is doing to secure your GenAI data. The demo highlighted the importance of integrated data security that is built right into your systems. It shows the innovation we have around enabling organizations to adopt a true defense in depth posture that we were talking about with their data assets. But what about when it's time to activate your data to unlock its business value? How can you do that now confidently also with Microsoft Purview? Let's explore the second pillar of responsible analytics, conveniently and creatively called Confidently Activate. Customers are often using multiple tools to govern data. And of course, you all know this causes headaches. very similar to the data security side of things that we talked about. Fragmentation is a big challenge. Customers tell us it creates blind spots. It's difficult for them to maintain consistent data quality, security, and compliance. Processes such as data classification, metadata management, and compliance reporting can be manual and time-consuming. The labor-intensive nature of it wears down data governance practices over time. And a centralized approach to governing these tools stifles innovation, counterintuitive to what organizations are trying to do. It leads to the rise of shadow business intelligence, where business units, often sales and marketing teams, will resort to their own unauthorized tools. And then there's the overly technical interfaces that traditional data governance tools have relied on, which often resemble command line interfaces that I grew up with many, many years ago. As a result, business users struggle and don't want to work with these solutions, leaving the practice of data governance centralized around our IT, which is not what we want, not what you heard our customers talk about earlier today. And it's not just me and the team saying this. The numbers back it up. According to Forrester, chief data officers often struggle with the complexity and fragmentation of data across different systems and departments. Forrester's research suggests that 60% of CDOs cite data integration challenges as their primary pain point, hindering their ability to derive insights and drive responsible data value from data effectively. That's a huge number, just signifies the problem in the market today. So what does a modern data governance practice actually require? We can think about it as a few different things. It needs to be simple, but sophisticated. Business user-friendly for the actual users that are going to use the solutions, which enable federated practice, putting the responsibility into the hands of the business units with the oversight of a data office being maintained. The ability to govern data across a disparate multi-cloud, multi-source data estate is an absolute must given the realities of organizations today. And actionable insights that help you put the practice in your data governance practice and confidently accelerates business value. And finally, efficiently powered generative AI that helps you leapfrog your effort to get to the insights of that data is a must for any modern data governance solution. Now let's take a look at how Purview Data Governance achieves all of this to build a modern data governance practice. Okay, I know, you're probably saying at this point, we've talked about data governance for a while now, so what's new? Well, times change, solutions change, and we've been learning from you, and we've learning from our own data governance practice at Microsoft. We've had many of the same experiences that you've been through, and the pain of multiple fragmented solutions that don't talk to each other. That's why I'm excited to show you today the new Purview Data Governance solution, which we've completely reimagined as a SaaS experience, which is business user-friendly. And it's purpose-built for the needs of a modern data governance organization and practice. So with that, I'm super excited to introduce Effie Kilmer, Principal Product Manager for Data Governance in Purview. And she's going to come to stage and show you what Microsoft Data Governance plus Fabric can do for your organization. Effie?
Awesome. Thanks, Rudy. Hello, FabCon Stockholm. As we've all witnessed this past week, we are living through an incredible moment in history with AI innovation. However, an often overlooked facet is that your AI is only as good as the data it feeds from. Your ability to innovate with AI depends on the ability of your people across your organization to easily discover, understand, and safely access reliable data. As we heard this morning, data governance is the essential practice to activate your data and scale your AI investments. I am so excited to show you our reimagined experience for modern data governance with this GA release of Microsoft Purview, one that will truly delight your business users across your organization. Let's dive in. Microsoft Purview is a completely integrated solution for all facets of data governance. You can see here on the left-hand side, you have your discovery experiences for your data consumers, your catalog management experience for your data governance practitioners, and lastly, you have your health management experience for your chief data officers. Now, this is super important because your organization no longer needs to juggle multiple point solution tools, leaving you with a disjointed user experience. You have all of your experiences here centralized in one. Now, throughout this demo, I'm going to highlight 3 key reimagined scenarios, starting with playing the role of a data consumer, a data governance practitioner, and lastly, a chief data officer. Now, before I start, let me ask you, how often do you spend countless hours searching for the data you need for your AI project, or for any project for that matter? Now, imagine a world where you no longer need to sort through data in your physical data estate. And what if I were to tell you you can use AI to help you find the data you need in a matter of minutes? Allow me to introduce you to the new world of data governance, starting here in data products. Now let's take a real-world example and stay on the same sustainability scenario you just saw with Tony. Let's imagine you're working on a sustainability project, and your boss has asked you to identify AI models producing the most amount of carbon emission. You can go in here in the catalog experience and say, I am looking for data on carbon emissions footprint. Now notice here in the search, in this catalog, you immediately will notice that you don't have any data lakes. You don't have any SQL tables exposed, no technical terms, no physical data estate. You have a very clean, user-friendly catalog experience. Now, in the old world, you'd have to go through each one of these data products and sort through to see if this is the data you need. Let's play in the new world. By clicking on Ask Copilot, you can ask additional information to Copilot to further narrow down to find the data product you need. So I can say here, find AI carbon emissions. And so what the Copilot will do here is it'll scan through the metadata inside of Microsoft Purview and then provide additional recommendations on data products that might meet your use case. Let's go ahead and click on this first one. Corporate emissions created by AI for calendar year 2024. Now here's the beauty of a fully hydrated data product, and I'll go into detail explaining these concepts in just a moment, but what you can see here, again as a data consumer, clear understanding of what this data is with a business description. You can see the underlying use cases. You can also immediately note that this data is healthy, so it's reliable for use. Scrolling down further, you can see the underlying data assets. Now let's take a moment to pause here to look at the screen. You can see that we have Lakehouse tables, we have Power BI reports, but Microsoft Purview extends beyond just the Microsoft stack. We also support Snowflake, Databricks. You'll see in a moment our support of Google BigQuery. We also support AWS and many more multi-cloud data sources. Now, as a consumer, you should feel pretty confident this is the data you're looking for. But you can click on Copilot to have a deeper dialogue to find out additional insights about this product. So you can ask, where did this data come from? What are the most used data assets? Here's my personal favorite. How long does it take for me to get access to this data? So now I know it'll take 5 to 7 working days where I can get access and get started on my project. I can even go in further and have a deeper conversation and say, will this data product help me identify AI model producing the most carbon emissions? So my very specific use case, now even before requesting access, it gives me full confidence that yes, this will help me achieve my project. So now that I have the confidence I need, I can go ahead and click access in this very simple self-serve form. What will happen here is that there's a lot of great technology that's powering this simple form, and I don't have time to go into the details of it, but as a business user, I can just very easily click through to say it's critical reporting. I can say it's for a sustainability project. The data product has identified the terms of use for this data product access, and clicking through, I can immediately request access, and it'll kick off a workflow to the data product owner. I just showed you a completely reimagined experience for a data consumer to easily discover, understand, and safely access reliable data across your multi-cloud data estate. Now you're probably asking yourself, how does this whole experience come to life? Let's go into this next experience here, under catalog management, in the governance domains. Now, putting on our data governance practitioner hat, you can see here, Microsoft Purview, we are elevating data governance to the grain of durable business concepts with relatable concepts such as finance, human resources, IT, sales, and marketing. And let's just stay on the sustainability example. So here, we're now giving ownership back to the business. So as a business leader, you can then define what this data is. And in this example for sustainability, it's a regulatory domain for your scope 1 through 3 requirements. You can also activate your teams and assign roles so you can clearly identify who are your catalog readers, your data product owners, your data quality managers. Now, flipping back into details, allow me to introduce you to the concepts that we have here. So we have your business concepts, which are your data products. And we just saw that in the previous data consumer experience, where your data products are the logical groupings of your data assets. You can apply additional business definitions and descriptions on top to make it easily discoverable by your data consumers. The second piece we have is glossary terms. This allows you to define the definition and data vocabulary within sustainability. The third one being your objectives and key results. This is the ability to stitch together your data to your overarching business objectives. So for this example in sustainability, your goal might be to be carbon neutral at the end of this year. You can now clearly see the data that's powering those metrics to achieve those goals and track your project progress here. We also have critical data elements, which I'll get to in just a moment. And then lastly, we have your custom attributes, which allows you to extend the definition of your business metadata. Now, I know I've just introduced you a whole handful of concepts, but what's super, super important to note here is that none of these concepts are static. You can apply data quality rules and access management rules to each one of these concepts. And I'll show you what that looks like in real life in just a moment. Now I'm going to go deeper into two of these business concepts. The first one being that I'm really excited to show you under data products is you can now see end-to-end lineage for your data asset. So clicking on that same data product we're most familiar with, carbon emissions created by AI, you can click into this Power BI report, such as company-wide emissions from AI, view the details, and what you'll see here is not just the asset lineage for this Power BI report we clicked on, we're now introducing governance lineage. So you can see here, yeah, give it up. So you can see here that we have your Power BI dashboard. You can see all the underlying data sources supporting this dashboard. Now, what's super important to note for the data governance practitioners here is that by clicking on a particular data asset, like this Google BigQuery asset, you can see the data quality rules that are applied. So what's important here is that when you identify data quality errors, you can see them as the root cause of the source and have them trickle down to all of your additional data sources. Super, super powerful tech here. The second business concept I want to introduce you to, critical data elements. Now this is super cool. So a critical data element, think of them as your crown jewels within your domain. So a common example that I see with customers is going to be customer ID. I want to be able to identify customer ID in my entire multi-cloud data estate. This example, in sustainability, you've identified admissions factor as a critical data element. So you can now apply a full description of what admissions factor is, but you can also clearly identify where admission factor sits across your multi-cloud data estate. Now imagine being able to set data quality policies at the logical concept of this admissions factor concept and have it trickle down to your entire data estate. Not only can you apply data quality rules, but you can also apply access rules. So what I'm telling you here is that we're bringing top-down governance to the market, not just bottoms up. You no longer need to be stuck applying policies at individual data sources. You can apply them once at the top, at the logical concept, and have them trickle down no matter how much your data continues to grow in your physical data estate. Super, super powerful tech. Now, switching gears here, we heard this morning that data quality was one of the biggest opportunities out there today. So let me ask you, how often do you use data for your projects and don't truly know if the data can be trusted for AI? Under here, within health management, we have your data quality experience. And this experience comes pre-configured in the same business lens you just saw under catalog management. And by clicking into the same scenario that we saw before within sustainability, imagine a world where you no longer have to apply data quality rules for one-off projects. You can see how it's aggregated here at the top under your governance domains and how it gets trickled down to your data products within your domain, all the way down to your individual data assets. By clicking on an asset, you now enter the holy grail of data quality as a data quality manager. You can see the total active rules that are set on this asset. You can see the total scans that have been conducted in the past 30 days, actions you need to take to help improve the data quality. Such incredible insight here, such as profiling, so you can see any outliers of your data before you set any quality rules. Then lastly, I want us to zoom in on rules. Imagine a world where you no longer have to be a technical policy expert to apply data quality rules to your assets. You can click here using new rule and be able to use low-code, no-code to apply data quality rules or apply a custom rule using Expression Writer. We not only have these out-of-the-box controls, but we also have AI to help you suggest rules that crawls through the data within this asset to then recommend additional rules to help improve the quality score. Super, super exciting stuff here. Now with that, great power comes great responsibility. And I want to take us into our last reimagined experience here, playing the role of a chief data officer. Going into controls under health management, you can notice here out of the gate, we have out-of-the-box controls to help you effectively govern your entire data estate across your multi-cloud environment. Not only can you do it as a CDO in centralized location, but you can activate your federates by having your sustainability lead, for example, be able to measure and identify and manage their own controls within the sustainability data. What you can also do is you can set your own red, yellow, and green tracking for these controls. You can also change the definition of your controls. Now, great that you can set controls, but let's start playing offense. If you go into actions here, you can start seeing the full laundry list of to-dos that you need to go do to help increase the health score of your data. You have them aligned to high severity, medium severity, low severity, so you know as a CDO or as a data governance practitioner where to focus your efforts each day. Now, as a CDO, you likely want to know how effective your governance strategy is going. And I'm personally a huge fan of Power BI as well, so I love visualizing my data. And by clicking here on the governance report, you can see here you get a full bird's eye view into your entire data estate to see the health score. Now, this is incredibly impactful because no matter where your data resides, you can effectively govern and manage it at the bird's eye level, but also you can federate it down to your individual federates, such as your sustainability lead. So you as a CDO can use this as your rhythm of business, and our CDO uses it. So you can go into a meeting and have a conversation with your sustainability lead and help improve the score specific to that domain. Now I'll leave you with this, because we are at a Fabric conference, so I know all of you are wondering, how does this integrate with Fabric? You can take all the richness of the work done by your organization here in Microsoft Purview, take all the metadata, and drop it into your Fabric OneLake instance. So you can go party on this data. You can create your own reports. You can create data alert activators. All the experiences that you're familiar doing in Fabric, you can do right here, pulling the metadata from Microsoft Purview. So with that, I'll close the demo here. And I hope I've excited you for the future of what modern data governance looks like to help you achieve success in your AI investments. I welcome you to join us at the Expo booth and join us on this journey. And thank you so much. I'll pass it back to Rudy.
Thanks, Effie. Killed it. All right, those are some fantastic demos. We're almost at the end of the session here, so I wanted to leave you with this final thought. Every CEO, every CDO is looking to build the next Uber, the next Airbnb that will disrupt their industries. And in the world of data, we are similarly excited to innovate and change the game with data governance and data security, all as part of the Purview family. By integrating natively with Fabric, we ensure our customers have world-class, all-in-one enterprise data and analytics solution that's safe, secure, and governed from the ground up, built in versus bolted on kludgely. Security and governance in the era of AI are no longer optional, no longer afterthoughts. They have become table stakes. You can take a look at this quote from IDC. It's not just Microsoft's perspective or me saying this, it's where the industry is moving. So with that, I want to thank you all for being here today. Thank you for your time. If you have any questions, please come to the Expo Hall. And with that, I'd love to invite Arun back to close us out for the day.
All right. As we wrap up the final day of the conference, I just wanted to say a huge thank you. We know your time is really, really valuable, and we know you have lots of options out there, and we're very, very grateful on behalf of all of Microsoft that you chose to spend this time with us. And as you go through the final day, I wanted to make sure that we leave you with 3 things. The first is hopefully you got a sense of the massive level of investment that Microsoft is bringing to the table with Fabric, with our AI stack, and with Purview. The second, I want to make sure that you appreciate the massive pace of innovation with weekly releases happening every single week, that is constantly evolving the product in a direction in which it adds business value. And the third, I want to make sure that you appreciate the fact that we're really, really focused on our customers and our community and our partners. So thank you so much for joining us here at FabCon, and hopefully we'll see all of you next year in Vienna. Thank you so much. Have a great final day.